Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like, what else are we reading from? Right? It's not like, do you really need to say that? That's why I say normally 4th canto, chapter 16, because it's not like we're going to be reading from the Upadeshamrita or something like that. Okay, so text 17. Do you want to get Mataji a book?
Yes.
Actually, I should say Prabhu, not Mataji.
Why?
Well, because this devotee this is an issue. Sometimes this is talked about, of what is appropriate, What do you like to be called?
I like Mataji.
You prefer Mataji?
Yeah.
But of course women are humble, so they'll say that,
No, but Mataji is mother.
Yes.
It's very respectful.
Okay, well good. Then I will call you that.
Yeah, Prabhu is like, well, we're all the same. We're all the same on the soul level, but still. Very
And I guess mother is also a type of master, right? Your mother is your superior, right?
Yes, of course.
So there's nothing degrading about Mataji. And this is what today's verse is actually about, women and treatment of women. So, now I believe this first word is pronounced matri, I believe. Matri is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, mother.
Matri, right?
Yeah.
It's not matir,
No.
it's matri. Matri bhakti parastrisu
Matri bhakti parastrishu
patnyam ardha ivatmana
Patnyamata ivatmana
prajasu pitrivat snigdha
Prajasu pitrivat snigdha
kinkaro brahmavadinam
Kinkaro brahmavadinam
kinkaram patinam vishen vavambudho. Lord Chaitanya sees he's the kinkaram, he's the servant. So you see that word, kinkara, that's in the Shikshastaka. And snigdha, that means affectionate. We'll do it again. Matri bhakti parastrishu
Matri bhakti parastrishu
patnyam ardha ivatmanaha
Patnyamata ivatmana
prajasu pitrivat snigdaha
Prajasu pitrivat snigdha
kinkaro brahmavadinam.
Kinkaro brahmavadinam.
Mataji, you get to chant first today.
Matri bhakti parastreshu
Matri bhakti parastrishu
Patnyam ardha ivatmanaha
Patnyamata ivatmanaha
Prajasu pitrivat snigdha
prajasu pitrivat snigdha
Kinkara brahmavadinam
kinkaro brahmavadinam.
Matri bhakti parastrishu
Matri bhakti parastrishu
Patnyam artha ivatmana
patnyam ardha ivatmanaha
Prajasu pitrivat snigdha
prajasu pitrivat snigdha
Kinkara brahmavadinam
kinkaro brahmavadinam. So this looks like a new system today. New phone system. Before there was like some different clip you had. Now it screws into the top.
Yeah.
Where's all the money for all these fancy devices coming from? This is Sankirtan Lakshmi. What are you going to use these films for? What happens for these videos?
Everything goes to the ether.
To the ether.
Yeah.
Well, if you have no camera, they also go into the ether. Matri bhakti,
Matri bhakti
as respectful as one is to his mother.
as respectful as one is to his mother.
Parastrishu,
Parastrishu,
to other women.
to other women.
Patniyam,
Patniyam,
to his own wife.
to his own wife.
Ardha,
Arha,
half.
half.
Eva,
Eva,
like.
like.
Atmana,
Atmana,
of his body.
body.
Prajasu,
Rajasu,
unto the citizens.
unto the citizens.
Pitrivat,
Pitrivat,
like a father.
like a father.
Snigdaha,
Snigdaha,
affectionate.
affectionate.
Kinkaraha,
Niktaraha,
servant.
servant.
Brahmavadinam,
Brahmavadinam,
of the devotees who preach the glories of the Lord.
of the devotees who preach the glories of the Lord.
Translation: the king will respect all women as if they were his own mother, and he will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizens, and he will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotees, who always preach the glories of the Lord. So that is Brahmavadinam. We are not Mayavadis, we are Brahmavadis. Purport: a learned man treats all women except his wife as his mother, looks on others' property as garbage in the street, and treats others as he would treat his own self. These are the symptoms of a learned person as described by Chanakya Pandit. This should be the standard for education. Education does not mean having academic degrees only. One should execute what he has learned in his personal life. These learned characteristics were verily manifest in the life of King Prithu. Although he was the king, he treated himself as a servant of the Lord's devotees. According to Vedic etiquette, if a devotee came to a king's palace, the king would immediately offer his own seat to him. The word Brahmavadinam is very significant. Brahmavadi refers to the devotees of the Lord. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagawan are different terms for the Supreme Brahman, and the Supreme Brahman is Lord Krishna. This is accepted in Bhagavad Gita 10:12 by Arjuna, Param Brahma Param Dhama. Thus the word Brahmavadinam refers to the devotees of the Lord. The state should always serve the devotees of the Lord, and the ideal state should conduct itself according to the instruction of the devotees. Because King Prithu followed this principle, he is highly praised. So you see sometimes devotees get government money, right? From the Kela, what is that? Kela? The social and that, right? So Prabhupada says this is bona fide. The state should support the devotees, right? Devotees are doing pure devotional service. The government should give money. There's no problem. It's bona fide. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Gena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. It's interesting that if you, in Gaudiya Mat, like in some places like followers of Narayan Maharaj, if you go to their camp, so they will call each other Didi. You know, they don't say Mataji, they'll say Didi.
To Mataji's.
Yeah, like they'll say Kamagayatri Didi. It means like sister.
Oh, Didi.
Didi,
Yeah.
you know? It means like sister, Bengali.
Yeah, yeah.
Didi. D-I-D-I, not deity.
Ah.
That's
Not
elder
deity.
sister.
Didi.
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 That's elder sister.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
But Prabhupada said no. Actually, Prabhupada taught men that all women are mother, not sister. Some people think that's a little extreme, you know? But that was what Prabhupada taught. And here the Shastra is saying it. Here, right here is Bhagavatam. It's confirmed. Right? King Prithu had said he treated all women as mothers. So that means, you know, the thing is that we have to understand Prabhupada is the personification of Bhagavatam. Whatever he's giving, it means Krishna is directly speaking to Prabhupada. That is his unique position. There's really no one else like that. You know, many times Prabhupada would say, Krishna is directly speaking to me how to run this movement. He would say that Krishna is writing these books. You know that famous story, Prabhupada was there with the reporter, and the reporter said, how do you run this movement? And Prabhupada said, well, Krishna tells me. And then Rameshwar, one devotee, was kind of saying, you know, like because God gives into... Prabhupada's like, no, Krishna directly speaks to me. Wherever Prabhupada went, Krishna was there next to him, talking to him, speaking to him. So no one is like that. I mean, who's on that level of devotional service, you know? Even Krishna ran away from Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was running all over the Parvat, Chataka Parvat, Jagannath Puri. Where is Krishna? Where is, right? But Krishna did not leave the side of Prabhupada. So we should understand, we should not misunderstand this. That Prabhupada is immaculately inassailable. He is flawless. The moment you start to think Prabhupada can have some flaw or make a mistake, it means the whole movement is finished. Then you must forget about everything. And no one will have a position like that for the next 10,000 years of the Satya Yuga. If somebody comes up and they say, oh no, actually Krishna gave me some realization, I made some spiritual advancement, and I realized something better than Prabhupada. Some idea he taught, I have a better idea than, no. Then you know it's bogus. Because it comes from Krishna. Nothing's better than Krishna. So for 10,000 years, Prabhupada is daddy. That's ISKCON. He is daddy. And anyone that becomes great in ISKCON in 10,000 years, anyone who becomes like self-effulgent, great Acharya, Mahatma, Mahabhagavat, it will be because they're such a nice follower of Prabhupada. Because they really understand Prabhupada's position. And they worship Prabhupada. That'll be the proof that they're exceptional. There will be nothing beyond that. Then that is our understanding as Sampradaya, founder Acharya. That is through Prabhupada is the deliverer. Because Prabhupada prayed to Krishna on the Jaladuta. Because he said to Krishna, please, you deliver them. I'm asking you as a favor. And Krishna did it because Prabhupada asked. That's the only reason. So we can never repay the debt. It's because Prabhupada left Vrindavan and his beautiful relationship with Krishna. He was sitting there with Krishna in the spiritual world, Radha Damodar, next to Seva Kunj. Very nice situation, very happy, after a lifetime of struggle and service. But because he got on that boat, then we're sitting here in Helsinki with the beautiful Gornitain, the beautiful atmosphere, with the wonderful devotees, nice prasadam, holy name, and we're all going back to Godhead. All of us. We may have some trouble. There may be some difficulty in our spiritual lives. We may have some mental distress, but we are going back to see Lord Chaitanya's beautiful golden face. Very soon. And then to embrace Krishna. Very soon. There's no doubt. So we're very happy. Prabhupada has given us this treasure. So sometimes there's questions of how to treat women in our society. Because on one hand, you know, the Shastra says women is less intelligent, they should be submissive, humble, they don't get, 12-year-old, Prabhupada said that they don't grow like beyond a 12-year-old, they stay like a young girl, so many things, right? But at the same time, Prabhupada would also say, that he would point to the women disciples and say they are just equal to the male disciples. Like even when Prabhupada would joke about women has like half-size brain than men, Prabhupada said, my followers, my women, they have full brain like men. He said that. So that's kind of a mystery. Because, okay, what do we do, Are women stupid or not, right? So, my understanding, here you have Prithu, he's accepting his wife as an equal half to him. And he says he was respecting women. Right? So that's Krishna as a king. He's teaching how we're supposed to see it. And Prabhupada made it very clear that devotee women are not like normal women. So yes, maybe if you are not a devotee and you're a woman, then you're less intelligent, you're lustier, all these things that they're supposed to be. But in the same way, if you're a man, you're an idiot if you're not a devotee. You're also a fool. Sometimes we think, these things that say in the Shastra about women, it's so heavy, so sad, poor women. But the thing is that all the other instructions in the Bhagavatam, Everything else, it's against men. Men are idiots and fools. The whole Bhagavatam is like, you're a fool, wasting the days in sex life. You're like a rascal. Sun is rising and setting. You can never buy it back. The whole scripture is talking to men. How you're a fool, you're a rascal, you're an idiot. And then a couple of chastisements are separate for the women. Okay, the women get the chastisements. You know, the hot chutney they get in this chapter, this shloka. But the men are catching it, all of it, isn't it? All the things in the Shastra about the, you know, just the rascal nonsense, envious, stupid, you know, that's for the men. And then the women get some special nectar. But everyone's being called an idiot by the Shastra. It's not just the women. And the men get it more because they're supposed to be the ones that are, you know, protecting the women. So they have greater karma. But for devotee women, this does not apply. Prabhupada said the devotee woman is exactly equal to the men. Equal. We have to be very, very careful. We have to be very careful. If we apply mundane consciousness to our treatment of women in ISKCON, then we will get a reaction. Like it says in Nectar of Instruction, that if you see a devotee and because they're ugly or diseased or they have some problem with their body and you think that they're less of a devotee because of that, there's a hellish mentality. This is like criticizing the Ganga. When the Ganga in the certain seasons, the rainy seasons, you know, it looks kind of dirty. There's foam and stuff floating on it. So the Shastra says, you don't, you know, Ganga's Ganga. So if devotee has some problem and is in a different body, then if you think, oh, then, you know, they're less of a devotee, then this is very bad. Like the whole issue of the, you know, women being gurus in ISKCON now, right? It's a big debate. Personally, I don't really see what's the problem. What's going to happen? Oh, we're going to have more gurus. Isn't that terrible? You know, there's going to be more gurus making more disciples. Like, oh no! Ah! You know? It's like such a bad thing, right? Oh my God, more spiritual masters! Yeah! It's like, I thought that's what we're supposed to want. You know? It's the bodily concept of life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. It is the bodily concept of life. Someone who is Krishna conscious, someone who has realized their spiritual identity, that means they're transcendental. They're transcendental to their body. You know, it's like, I'm a Jew, you know, so I should not be allowed to deal with the money in the temple because I will cheat. I will take it. You know, it's just like, yes, he's a nice devotee, but you have to understand, he's Jew. Right? If someone said that, they'd go, you're in Maya. You know? So in the same way, if you say, oh yeah, they're a nice devotee, but they're a woman. And I think, you know, actually, personally, I mean, I'll just say that I think that this goes across the board. You know, like Prabhupada said, women should never be independent. I think that a devotee woman actually is not subject to these regulations. I'm sorry. I know this is very controversial. But the thing is, otherwise, how can you explain how Prabhupada would engage women? Right? Go here, go there, preaching, traveling. Go out on book distribution. Prabhupada would have his disciples go out and talk to men. Alone, you know? So, I'm sorry, I'm kind of old-fashioned, meaning ISKCON old-fashioned. Not old-fashioned like conservative old-fashioned. So, and here we see this is approved. Now, that being said, the funny thing is, what's the enigma, the mystery, is that when women are really Krishna conscious, generally they become more like the feminine qualities. They don't become like, yeah, I'm Krishna conscious, you know? No, actually they become more like feminine and shy. So that's the nice dynamic, is that the men are like, oh, you're very Krishna conscious, here is, and then just like Draupadi. Draupadi was so powerful. You know how she was born? From a fire yajna. She was born from fire. She's not a normal woman. Very powerful. But you know that it says that Draupadi would wake up before anybody. When the Pandavas were in exile in the forest or in the palace, Draupadi would be the first person to wake up in the house, even before the servants. And it says in Shastra, she was the last person to go to sleep after the servants. How much of a surrendered woman, right? Like, oh no, it is like that perfect ideal you think of a woman. It's just like, no, I have to work hard and serve everybody, in the house and get up and clean and cook. And so she was more like that than anybody. Though she's like, she was the queen. She should have woke up at like 10 o'clock, have her foot massage, eat some candies. That's like she should have. Because she's like Maha Bhagawat. But no, she would no, I'm a woman, I have to do the jobs. And she would, so her quality, it's so nice. That's many times the mystery, is that an advanced woman will think, like Kunti, right? Queen Kunti, her prayers are like, when we read her prayers, we think, oh my God. It's like, what kind of level of Krishna consciousness she's got. It's like the highest. It's better than a lot of the men's prayers. Right? But Kunti was not like, yeah, so here are my good prayers, so I hope you listen to them. No, she's like, actually, us women, we're not very smart. We're very stupid, right? Like, that's how she's introducing her great prayers. She's like saying, like, no, I'm just a woman, so, we're very silly. We don't understand much, what do we know? And then she, says these amazing, philosophically sophisticated concepts that are so elevated. This idea of oh, let me be in difficulty. Bring the calamities. I don't like good times. Don't give me comfort and ease. And no, I like it when I'm in anxiety and things are really bad because that's the only time I remember you. Like, what a realization. It's like the highest realization. The highest. But then sometimes we can be confused. Oh, yes, so that is Draupadi. So you must, Mataji, you must be like Draupadi, right? But we don't want to give the respect. That's the problem. So, it takes time. It takes some maturity. I can't say that I always talk like this. I'll be honest with you. If you would have asked me 5 years, 10 years ago, you probably would have got a bit different. But with maturity, then you realize. Krishna shows you, what the truth is. How to deal, what is correct. And so, we're not perfect. We're not saying that we're graduated onto guru status. But I think that it's in line with what Prabhupada taught. So, the thing is that if you are secure in your Krishna consciousness, if you really feel like Krishna, you have a relationship with Krishna, and it's solid, and it's real, and it will never be lost. It will never break because you don't want it to ever break. And Krishna has blessed you. You really feel like something, you've been blessed. Then then these things will not threaten you. If a Mataji is treated nicely, or worshipped, or honored, this is not this won't threaten you because Krishna's already said, hey dude, you're going back home very soon. I'm bringing you. So you're like, Haribol, Jai, what else do you care about? No one threatens you. Someone else gets some nice treatment or some recognition. There's no threat to you. You want the world to go back. Yes, let's all go back. It's a party. Now, if you're not going back, if you're not secure, then you'll get very worried if you see some Matajis going back before you. It's like, forget it. None of the Matajis are going back before me. Right? But if you really feel like, no, Prabhupada has given me the treasure. I'm going back. Even if it's not in this lifetime, who cares? The thing is, I'm going back. Lord Chaitanya is going to put me back in the spiritual world. I'm going to be a cowherd boy, or a manjari, or a gopi. Guaranteed. Very soon. I am going to be drinking that nectar, going insane with love of Godhead in the spiritual world, with all the beautiful devotees. Very soon. I believe. Then you don't mind if some devotee, gets encouraged. You know, it's not easy in this world. It's very hard. You know, Kalakanta Prabhu, he was giving a seminar that we're going to watch some on Thursday. I don't know if you... He said that he thinks it's actually... He gives all respects to women in ISKCON because it's so hard to be a woman in ISKCON. That they're actually more sincere. Because it's, if you want to be a woman and stay in ISKCON, it's more of a struggle. It's harder. It means you're more sincere because it's so hard. Though it is nice here in the temple in Helsinki, there's like nice quarters for the women if they want to stay. A bed and a kitchen and bathroom. Believe me, in many temples in America, the women's facility is not so great. The men's facility is there. Brahmachari ashram is there, but the women, they have to like sleep down by the heater, you know, next to the washing machine in the closet. I know it's not funny, it's terrible, but it's the glory. But still, women still stick around somehow or other. You know, I was in Denver. Denver, my God, the facility for the women, it's so depressing. The men have like their own house, like 2 houses. And the Matajis are like downstairs in the basement, below a Grihasta's quarter, you know. And they just tolerate somehow or other. Yeah, so we follow. We may wonder what's bona fide, you know. We may have argument. No, it's like this. This is Vedic. But we see Prithu Maharaj. How he was, you know, Parastrishu, all the women he was treating with respect like his own mother. So it's very nice. So also another point in the purport, it says that the king, if a devotee would come into his palace, he would get off his throne and offer it to a devotee. So also, you see, when we think of a king, you think of like some powerful guy. He's got all these wives. He's enjoying. Like in Krishna consciousness, you're allowed, you know, to have children. You have sex once a month, right? And some people think, you know, in the Western body, we may think, oh, this is too difficult. But if you have 30 wives, then you can have sex every day, and it's totally bona fide, right? So someone may think, oh, the king, he's got a pretty good situation. He can be Krishna conscious, and he can enjoy sense gratification. So much facility is given to the king. But the thing is that a king, a Vedic king, he's ready to die at any moment. He will go into battle, and he's ready to die at any moment. So yeah, he's got some nice gratification, right? Nice palace. You know, he can enjoy so many ways, right? But he must be ready to go any second, without hesitation, to die on a sword. So he has to be in a special consciousness to be a king. And the king is the best devotee also. Like if you go to Jaipur, you go to the palace, different palaces, they'd have a temple. They'd have brahmanas, a full temple in the palace, and the king would attend the full program. He would wake up for Mangalarti. He would go to the full program. And he would understand that he was a servant of the deities. So you see, it's not the king with some big fat slob, totally in Maya, you know, just some kind of big fat guy with a mustache in illusion. No, that's not a Vedic king. Vedic king, he's like on the platform of a brahmana. He's very renounced, he's very Krishna conscious, and he thinks that his whole kingdom belongs to Krishna. And he's just a caretaker, a servant of God. That's a king. And you see that that's Prabhupada says. You know, the throne of the king is very special. It's holy, like the holy seat of the Bhagavatam, right? It's spiritual. So, but the king, he would get off his throne and let a devotee sit on it. That's pretty serious. And what to speak of Krishna, you know what he let Sudamana sit on? Where was Sudama Brahmana sitting on?
Krishna's wife. Right.
Yeah, Rukmini's bed. He was privately, intimately sitting with Rukmini in her bedroom, sitting on her bed, talking to her. And Sudama Brahman, Krishna's like, bring him right in. He wasn't like, okay, Rukmini, hold on, I gotta go. And then go into the throne room and have a formal reception. Okay, here's the Brahmana, you get to sit on the throne. Krishna was like, bring him in. Bring him into Rukmini's bedroom. Brahmins, come on. And he's like, have a seat on the bed, man. You sit down. And then he gets off and he's like washing his feet. He's sitting on his wife's bed. He's not thinking like, this is not for you. Dude, what are you doing, man? This is my wife's bed, man. Get out of here. No, he's like, this is for you. You sit there, enjoy. It's a beautiful, nice, soft bed. And she will fan you. Enjoy. You know? So that's the mood of a king. Is the devotees get the best of everything. They're better than the king. And the king knows that. He's just a steward. A steward. You know this word in English, a steward? It means that you're supervising something. It doesn't belong to you. So that's a real king. And then Krishna will empower that king to defeat any enemy. He will empower that king to be victorious in battle. You know, there's a story in India. There's one king, famous. It's a true story. In Rajasthan, there's one palace there. And they tell a story that the king went out to a battle and he lost. So he came back to the palace, and you know the doors are all shut. You know the big doors? The palace has high walls. So he called, you know, open the door. And then they were like, no. He was like, what do you mean? It's the king. Open the door. And the guy calls down and goes, no, the queen says not to open it. And he was like, what do you mean don't open it? Then the guy said, the queen says you cannot be the king. You're an imposter. You're pretending. Because her husband would not have come back alive after being defeated. He would have died in the battle. So you're not the husband, actually. You're not the king. So we're not opening the door. And he had to leave. He went somewhere else in exile and didn't come back. So that's king. That's the mood of a king. Total renunciation. That you will die on the battlefield. There's no question of defeat. You will die. So he deserves that. He deserves that kind of nice situation, enjoyment. Because he's living like he's very renounced. So this is the ideal. See, what do these things have in common? These two things that we talked about in class? Treatment of women and the behavior of a king. You know what the common similarity is? What do they have in common? What they have in common is it's about respect. It's about nice behavior. It's about treating people decently. And that's the spiritual world. The spiritual world is you love everybody and you think everybody's awesome and beautiful and such a nice devotee, but you're not a good devotee. You know, Krishna tolerates you because he's so merciful. And everyone is better, more sincere. And you're so happy when you see the beautiful bird singing a sweet little song standing on the end of Krishna's flute. You're thinking like how that bird is so much of a better devotee than me. Look at Krishna's smile. You know, he's so happy by the song of that little bird. That's the mood. Not like, oh, would this bird get it over? We fly away, bird. I'm trying to have some time with Krishna. Get out of here, dirty bird, full of bugs. What can you do? Sing a song? What is that? You know? You're just annoying. I'm going to really give Krishna some happiness. Get out. Fly away. No. You're thinking everybody's role is important. The water, the grass, the trees. You know, have you ever read Vrindavan Mahamrita by Prabodhananda Saraswati? It's this beautiful glorification of Vrindavan. Amazing book. He spends like chapters and chapters and chapters glorifying the trees of Vrindavan. How beautiful they are, how special they are, how sacred they are, how they give mercy to everyone, how the roots are worshipable, how they produce fruits and flowers that make Radha and Krishna happy. He just goes on and on, like long time, talking about the glories of the trees. Not just the gopis and the manjaris and Rasa Leela, you know, and this gopi was swimming with Krishna with her like white cloth and her beautiful body and all this like rasika stuff. No, but Prabodhananda Saraswati, she's Tunga Vidya Gopi in the spiritual world. She's like a very, very elevated gopi. She's the one that knows the scriptures. And he's just going on glorifying the trees and the flowers. In one part he says that there's a special tree in the spiritual world that produces flowers that look like gems and fruit that look like gems. Pretty amazing, huh? How would you like to do that? Prepare a nice snack for Radha and Krishna? It's described the Manjaris will prepare little snacks when they have a picnic and use fruits that look like jewels. It's quite amazing. Give Krishna a nice plate full of jewel fruits. So that's the spiritual world. Everybody first. You know that Belinda Carlisle song? Do you remember that American group? They were called The Beat, these young girls, and then she had a song, ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say heaven, love comes first. This was a hit in the 80s in America. But the idea is that, the spiritual world, love comes first. That's the mood. Everyone comes before you. So, but if we have problems in our Krishna consciousness, then we cannot do this because we're in pain. And when you're in pain, you look like a child is in pain. The child cannot take care of the mother. A baby who is hungry or cold, she cannot worry about the mother. The baby says, "Moo, mommy, yeah." Wants the boob, wants the breast milk. Then it's happy. It says, "Give me," looking for the breast, right? So sometimes men in this world that are like wounded children, they're just interested looking for the breast. They become obsessed with like women's breasts. Like, "Please give me that, Mom." It's the child mentality. That's what it is. It's not a man. I mean, a man can appreciate a beautiful woman, but it's not like that kind of neediness. Like, oh. Like you become stupid. Like a baby, like mama. Mama, milkies, mama. So when you grow up, when you're mature, when it's an adult, you can embrace your mother. Mother, don't worry. I'll take care of you now. I'll look after you now. You just rest. That means you've grown up. You're not a baby anymore. So spiritually, when you're grown up, when you manage to make some growth, advancement, maturity, then you care for the devotees. You give shelter to the devotees. You want to encourage the devotees. Speak nicely to the devotees. Love the devotees. But if I'm wounded, if I'm hurting, then I'm like that devotee, right? I need from them. I need. Like the baby wants the breast. So to live like, that's why the spiritual world is so beautiful. Everybody's totally grown up, mature. They're full. There's no envy. They don't mind. They see some devotee, Krishna's giving special mercy. Like Krishna's favoring that devotee. Then they're like, Haribol! That's so beautiful. It's such a nice thing that devotee has pleased Krishna in some special way. That Krishna just really is at the moment loving that devotee in a special way. What a beautiful thing. But if we're wounded, if we're, neophyte, then we think, that's not fair. That devotee should not receive that kind of honor. Why don't I get that? How come I never get that? Why doesn't Krishna do that to me? Both of them are wrong. The devotee is wrong and Krishna is wrong for showing that special mercy. They're both bogus. When Krishna acknowledges me, that I'm special, that's when he'll actually be a nice God. And I'll surrender and accept he's God. Before then, bogus. Bogus. So this is the mentality. This happens. But we should understand it's not Krishna consciousness. It's neophyte stage. It's prakrita bhakta, kanishta bhakta. You know the Kanishta? They love the devotees. Oh, the deities. Oh, they're so nice. Oh, the deities. Chai, you know. Devotees? Oh, I worship the deity. Oh, I love Gaurnitai. Oh, yes. Devotees? Don't know about those devotees. So this is Kanishta, where you only respect the deity, but the devotees you don't respect. This is a very low platform of devotional service. So we have to pray, Krishna, please help us. Please help me overcome my pain so I can grow up and love the devotees and not be envious and a fault finder and critical. You know, it's very hard. Devotee does something that rubs you the wrong way. They look funny. They say something funny. They do something funny. We become angry. You know? It's really hard. Devotee cooks something, you're very hungry, and he cooks something, puts the wrong spice in or does the wrong thing. I become angry. I'm like, damn that devotee. I was so wanting to have a nice sabji and you ruined it. How am I supposed to be happy if I don't have a nice sabji? And I'm like mentally throwing arrows at that devotee. Oh, stupid. It's really hard. It's really hard to just go, you know what? I'm Hare Krishna. Just tolerate, 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 tolerate. You know, it's like, it's all right. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Just relax, baby. Babe, come on, baby. It's all right, baby. It's all right. Stop crying. It's like, I want to stop crying. That's okay, baby. It's like, okay. All right. Baby's finished. Now change my diaper. Yeah, so someone who is in Krishna consciousness is not threatened by someone else's happiness because they're happy. You know, if you have $1 billion and someone wins 100,000 in the lottery, you're like, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. But if you have no money and someone wins the lottery, it's like, envy. But that's the evidence that you're empty inside. If you're empty and you see someone else is becoming full, it becomes very painful. But if you're full, then you don't want. You're happy. This is the challenge. So that's a gauge. We can know. We can know how much advancement we've made by how we feel about the devotees, how much love we have for the devotees in the temple. If we just see it, it's this building full of annoying people, then we know we have to do some work. But if we become joyful and we love and it gives us happiness when we see the devotees, we feel blessed, like we don't need anything. Just to be with these devotees, that's like, then we're satisfied. Because Krishna will take us home. Because we're with the great devotees and they can bless us. Yeah. But material world is very powerful. Maya, the modes of material nature. Even if you have some nice realization, someday you're having a good day, then you can get knocked down, you know, have a bad day. So we just have to tolerate. Keep trying, get back on the horse. You get thrown, you have to just keep getting back on. Keep trying. Even though, you know, it's funny, I have the experience in Krishna consciousness, when you get some nice realization and you speak it in class, right? Many times, very quickly after, Krishna will fully test you on that point. Mm-hmm. I've seen this. It's like it's a principle. Like when you speak something, it's like you're proclaiming to the world, I have this realization, and I'm going to teach you also. And then Krishna will be like, oh, really? Not because he's like a nasty, but he likes the realization. So he's trying to show you, okay, let's see if it's real. It's good you're saying these things, so let's see. Can you do it now? I want you to realize more than just words. I want it to become real, so I'm going to show you. And it's funny, many times I have this experience. And I'll be like, oh man, I fully failed that test. I blew it. But then you realize, and then next time becomes a little better, and bit by bit things get better. You know, Krishna is very kind. Krishna is very grateful to anyone who's serving Prabhupada in this world. Krishna is so much obligated to that person. He's so grateful. And he wants so much to help that devotee make genuine spiritual progress. Genuine. It's a secret. Anything done for Prabhupada, Krishna will never forget that person. Krishna will say, this person I am bringing home. I've marked them. Okay, so any criticisms, corrections, chastisements, questions? I'll even take a question.
So how we become satisfied in our bhajan?
Are you not satisfied?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think I'm asking a question here.
You must what?
I'm asking a question.
Very good. Very good. See? That's good. Well, the thing is that our philosophy is that what you need to survive, the milk that you need to drink to be nourished, have you heard the expression milk of human kindness? They use that expression in English. That is the nourishment, is love from other devotees. The association and the exchange, loving exchanges, that is the nourishment that you need to be happy and full. Prasadam is great. Prasadam is Krishna's mercy. But I don't mean to offend prasadam. You can eat all the most delicious, maha lasagna in the world. But if you don't have nice relationships with the devotees, you'll still feel empty. And you'll walk out the door and you'll look around going, where can I find love? So you must get nourishment from other devotees. This is a classic thing, like in the brahmachari ashram. You know, some brahmachari is there, he's very sincere, he works, but he doesn't have any nice friendships in the temple. He's lonely. So then he thinks, I have to find a nice girl who will finally be nice to me. You know? And many times it doesn't necessarily work. Because if a man goes into a marriage with a woman with that mood that she's going to give me something that I need because I'm empty, she will realize that and she will not follow that kind of man. But if you go in thinking like, no, I have some nice friendships and I've made some spiritual advancement and I'm going to give something to this girl, I'm going to offer something to her, then it can be nice. But if you have nothing to offer, then why would she want to serve you? You're trying to take from her. It's that same baby thing. You're looking for the boob, right? A woman doesn't want to marry a baby, a man who is like a baby. Really. It's not very nice. She's looking for a man. That's attractive. That's like stimulating. It's exciting. When the man is like a man and a woman is like a woman, very nice combination, and they're both like motivated. But if the man has no control of his senses and he's just needy, then it's a disaster. Initially, the woman will be like, oh, this is okay because I can control this man. He's like a child. So in the beginning, the woman may like that kind of relationship, but very soon the woman will hate the man. She'll look, where's a real man? Anyway, Bhakti Vijayapurna Maharaj talks about these principles. Also, this isn't just not my invention. So yeah, you've got to find satisfying relationships in Krishna consciousness. Because then you'll be happy and you won't go anywhere. Otherwise, you'll always be looking, where can I find a friend? Maybe it'll be a woman out there. She'll love me. Give me the love I'm looking for. She'll understand me, appreciate me. But no, we want to be appreciated by the devotees. That doesn't mean you can't get married. It doesn't mean, I think in my class I've made it clear. It's the consciousness. It's not whether you're in. You can be a brahmachari in complete maya. You can be a grihasta, complete Krishna consciousness. Happy, satisfied, optimistic, married. Or you can be a brahmachari, miserable, lusty, like totally. For sure. Right? It's true, right? So it's externals are. And sometimes, if you're simple and you can just be happy with getting love from your service and a few exchanges with the devotees, some devotees are like that. They're simple. They don't need that much nourishment. But then those of us, like me, I'm kind of needy. I need relationships that have substance. I need exchange. I need connection with the devotees to be happy. If I don't have it, then I'm not happy. That's why I'm always looking to plumb the depths, push the edges. Because I need it. Because I'm very lusty and needy. So I have to get it from the devotees. Does that help?
Yeah. I have another question also. Many times, you don't have time for have so much service, or you spend more time with one devotee or with some newcomer, and there's so many who comes to Sunday feast. You just have no time for everyone. Sometimes you just they already left, and they already, I didn't speak to this guy. You never see this person again. What can you do?
Well, it's easy for me to say. I'm not in temple management. It's easy for me to say, just disobey, blow off your service. But the thing is that the most important the most important thing in spiritual life, Shakespeare said, above all else, to thine own self be true. Shakespeare said,
Can you repeat it?
above all else, to thine own self be true. Shakespeare said. And I think that that's very important. You've got to be honest with yourself. What I'm capable of, what I need, what I can do, what I can't do. It's like, okay, I've known devotees, brahmacharis, they push, and they kind of burn out, and then they bloop. So is that really good? Oh, but they were obedient for 6 months. They did what they were told. And Krishna will remember that. And that's true. But we want people to stay in ISKCON. We don't want people to leave. We have to keep people. So you also have to look at yourself and say, what do you need? If you can just work hard, not spend time with people, not preach to new people, not get what you need from other devotees, then great. But if you need that, if you're feeling something missing, that you need connection and humanity and relationship, then you've got to take it. Don't worry about it. You sometimes have to be a little independent. I'm sorry, it's a very fine line. We're supposed to be submissive in ISKCON and cooperate with authorities, but Prabhupada said a Brahmin also means that no one is your master. You are independently thoughtful. That's a Brahmana. Hanumat Prashaka Maharaj, he says that actually a Brahmin is like an anarchist. He said that Hanumat Prashaka Maharaj, who has a degree in psychology, is a guru in America, very respected devotee. He's involved in education. He said that the political system which best describes a Brahmana is anarchist. Because you don't have a master. Brahmins are independent. Chanakya Pandit was an advisor to a king. And one day the king was kind of speaking heavy with him. And Chanakya Pandit walked out the door. He said, where are you going? And he says, I don't need this. Do your own kingdom. Haribol. Chanakya Pandit would not accept it. He would live in a hut outside of the palace. He wouldn't take any wealth from the king because he felt he became compromised. He wanted to maintain his Brahminical power, detachment. He would advise the king, but if the king becomes disrespectful, it's like, see you later. I'm going to go do my bhajan. I'm happy. I don't need you. I'm not getting anything from this, being the king's advisor. You're mistaking things. You think I'm getting some honor, or that I'm advising the king, I'm getting some juice from that. I get nothing from that. I'm doing this because Krishna wants me to do it. It's the role of a Brahmana. If you don't like it, I don't need it. Goodbye. I'm happy with my sadhana. That's my pleasure. That detachment, right? We talked about that, book distribution, right? That mood. It's I don't need you to buy this book to feel good about myself. Krishna already likes me. That's all this approval I need. If you don't like it, that's your karma. It's your decision. I'm doing my service, I'm giving you a chance. You want to talk to me? You want to buy a book? I'm happy to serve you like that. But I don't need you. So we have to cultivate some detachment also. You have to make time for the important things. You can't be a robot. You see so many people, Jai, Jai, Hari Bol, like, I must follow authority, I must, and then they bloop. And then they leave Krishna consciousness and they start like being critical, like offensive. So is that good? That was really good? So I'm not saying be unsubmissive rascal, but I'm also saying you can't be a robot. You have to find that line. You have to be a human, you have to take care of yourself, you have to fulfill your emotional needs, and you have to serve your spiritual master and do Sankirtan and be a devotee. You have to do both. And it may be a battle. You may get in trouble sometimes. Gopal Krishna, I told you to do that. Why were you going talking to that person? You're like, sorry, Haribol. Okay, yeah, sorry. I won't do it again. Because you know what you need, what your heart needs to be happy and wake up for Mangalarti with enthusiasm and be happy about being a devotee in ISKCON and have optimism and hope. This is what you need. If you don't, then you will die. And you'll just be another casualty out there in the material world. Oh, where's Gopal Krishna? Oh, yeah, he's running a cigarette store in Almaty. But he was such a nice devotee. Yeah, I saw him on Harinam, and he gave me a free pack of cigarettes, and he's married now, and, yeah, he's such a nice devotee, but, he's going through something. It's like, that's success. You see some devotee who's blooped out there in the material world, and, oh, yeah, I saw them, and, oh, yeah, they still chant sometimes, and, yeah, it's like, that's not a success. That's not what we want. We don't judge them, but for ourselves, we don't want to go there. So you have to do what's going to keep you happy. Even if everyone criticizes you, chastises you, you're nonsense, you're this or that, you know deep down what you need to be happy. And you know you want to love Krishna. You know you're sincere. You know you love Prabhupada. You know what you need to stay in that consciousness. So it's a very fine line. I know what I'm saying is very controversial. And I would not say it around certain people. But I'm just being honest. How I've survived for 30 years. It's like today is my 30th anniversary of being a devotee.
Really?
Yes.
Hariyo!
Yes.
Thank you very much for serving Prabhupada.
Yeah, we are just like a flea biting Prabhupada, sucking his blood. We're just going along his ISKCON. Somehow we're a very lucky flea. We've bitten and sucking blood for 30 years. Somehow we've not flown off to some other thing. That is our qualification. We're just a lucky insect. Maybe this insect will get. There's a devotee. Devotees do past life regression. There's a type of hypnosis you can go and remember your past life, You know about this, right? So some devotee got a past life regression. And they were remembering going, bzzz. They said they were remembering going, bzzz. Really? And they said they saw some like statues. And they're buzzing around, bzzz. And they saw near the statues there was a bowl with some nice like sweet white liquid in it. And it was like, and they drank some of that. That's a true story. Like some fly drank some Charnamrita, and then became a devotee.
We have this one, how it was Murahanu? And he had this one ant here. He's living here. I saw him just walking like doing japa time. He made his like japa walk here. And when I went puja towards her Maharani, she was like walking there by to his place to sing his prayers. Very nice. One is living here already. Like we had this cat here. We get this house. Was living downstairs. For listening to Kirtan for, is it like a few months or something? She left. We never saw her again.
Actually, you know Janananda Maharaj? He wrote a book called Animals in Krishna Consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's all the stories of different devotee animals around the world. Birds and cats and dogs and bulls that would like come to Mangalarti, you know, come to the program, you know, take prasadam, you know? Like, yeah, there's no disqualification. Even an ant in ISKCON Helsinki can be a devotee, morning program. And very soon they'll be freed from their animal body and become a devotee and go back to Godhead. The common thing is they're a devotee, like us. Actually, when I was on Padayatra in 1987, there was a devotee a dog called Bhaktadas. This dog joined in one village. You know, Padayatra is devotee are walking, you know, through India. So this devotee dog just showed up. He would come to Mangalarti every morning, and when the conch shell would blow, he'd be like, woo! He would walk around Tulsi when the devotees would walk around Tulsi. And it was very difficult because when he would come into a new village, you know what happens? The dogs of that village will attack. This strange dog is coming in. But he would fight, he would just do it. He would survive. He would just stay. He would only eat prasadam. Devotees would feed him their remnants. And then one day when they're in Haridwar, you know, which is you know, a holy place in the Himalayas, he left his body. And the devotees wrapped his body in a Harinam chadar and put him in the Ganga. That was Bhaktadas. So we can only hope to have such nice disappearance. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki jai.
Jai.
It's like Gaur Premanand.
Hari Hari Bol.